Hey everyone, NW Order for Life back again to bring you Tokyo Ghoul Episode 2 review. So the episode starts off with how it left off last time. Toka is shoving the human meat and blood into Ken's mouth, and Ken is forced to swallow it, and while I'm sure it tasted great to him, he got this like sickness about him. I guess it was like just like his will. Like he couldn't believe what he just did, so he like tries to barf it up because he doesn't want to not be a human anymore. And she's like really making me sick, and he's like I'm not a monster like you. And she's like really, and she starts like kicking him and punching him a bit. And she's like tell me what it's like, uh, what cake tastes like. Tell me what it's like not to get hunted, by the police or other ghouls, for survival. Like, tell me what that kind of life is. You think your life sucks, you know? So she gets really upset and she, trash talks him or whatever. And she smell and he's like I'm human, and she smells him, and she's like you're definitely not a ghoul. She's like but you're not human either, you're just some half and half. She's like there's no place left for you, you know anywhere for you to go. And then the this old owner of the Antica Cafe, he comes up from behind her and he says that's enough, Toka, and he starts talking to Ken, saying like, "Oh, you feel terrible. I'm sorry for you. Come on, let's go back to the cafe, whatever, and we'll talk, whatever." And Toka's like, "Why?" And he's just like, he's a ghoul. Like it's our policy to help ghouls, like no matter what type of ghoul it is. So they bring him back to the cafe, and Ken is made a cup of coffee. And the owner tells him the coffee is just coffee. There's nothing different about it. So Ken tries it, and Ken says it's delicious, and the elder man says that well, he's like the master of the antique cafe. So I guess I could just call him like master. I think that's what the Japanese call the owners of shops, whatever, master. So the master is you know he says that coffee is the only thing that humans and ghouls can like on the same level. Like it tastes good to both of them. So he he says that coffee won't fix the hunger. So he says it's just something that tastes good and can just a nice drink or whatever. And he gives him this package of a package. And obviously, there's human meat and flesh in there. He says take it when the time is right. Come back and get more when you need it. And so Ken takes it, and Toka says to he's not even a real ghoul. When Ken leaves, Toka says to the master, he's not even a real ghoul. Why are you helping him? And he said like that they help all types of ghouls, and like the reason why he thinks that Ken is becoming a ghoul because he knows that Ken is the student that got the organ transplant from Rize. He knows that Rize's organs are in Ken. He thinks that Ken is becoming a ghoul, like over time, and that shocks Toka. And then after that, we see Ken in his house. He's being tormented. He's like this. He's huddled over. He's just like rocking and shaking and thinking about meat, 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 meat. And now we see Rize appear, like a ghost type of way, like on his back, and she's like, "Oh, just eat. It's delicious. It's like it puts any steak to shame." And there's no, there's no shame in eating. And he's about to. He's got both his hands on the package, and that's when his friend Hide gives him a call, and Hide snaps him out of it. And he goes to school. he wears an eye patch because he can't control his ghoul side right now, so his eye is like permanently red, so he's wearing an eye patch over. He goes to school, and he sees Hide, and Hide's like, oh, we're gonna go check on meet this sensei, whatever. And as they're walking up the stairs to go meet the sensei, we see this guy. We don't see his face, right? We just see his backside, and he's like, necking this girl. I don't know if she's another teacher, probably another teacher. He's necking her, and she, they're getting into it or whatever. And then she's like, no, and she's kind of like, going back and forth on it. And then Hide just swings open the door, like, hey, sensei, like, and the girl, she gets out of there. She's all embarrassed. And the guy turns around and says, don't you know, Hide, I don't like when people barge in on my territory. And then Ken's eyes light, become afraid, and we can see the fear. And the reason is because this is the guy from episode 1 who killed the other ghoul and was about to kill Ken just because they were feeding in his territory. And his name is Nishima, I believe. And he's shocked too to see Ken there. And Hide introduces everybody, and he says, well, pleasure to meet you, and introduces himself, and then says that he's got to go to his house to get something, so why don't Hide come with him? And Ken's like freaking out because he's thinking, oh no, like he'll kill Hide, so I got to go with him. So he says, let me go too, and they all go, okay, fine. And on their way walking to Nishima's house, there's like a takoyaki. Is it takoyaki? I forget. The pastries with the beans in it and stuff like that, shaped like a fish. He goes to buy. He's like, oh, you guys want some? Nishima. And Nishima buys 3 of them. He gives one to Ken, one to Hide, and he takes one for himself. And he just starts eating it, like, we just see him take, like, a bite, and he's chewing and he's swallowing. He says, oh, it's delicious, And Hide's like, yeah, it's so crispy and, so good. And Ken is just amazed at how Nishima can fake eating that food. And, so then they're walking to the house or whatever, and then all of a sudden, like, while they're under an underpass and there's, like, hardly anybody in the area, Nishima just kicks Hide all the way across the underpass, knocking him out, instantly probably. He's on the floor bleeding, and he accuses Ken. Well, first he says, that Ken is like, he didn't think he'd see another ghoul, in his school, and, he accuses Ken of wanting to eat Hide, and he starts like choking Ken out, and Ken's like, no, I'm not like you. I don't want to eat Hide. I don't, I'm not like that. And he goes, oh yeah, you remind me of Toka, and he says you smell like a female. Actually, I think he said you remind me of Toka in the manga, but he says he's choking out Ken, and he says, because I did read some of the manga earlier, like the first couple chapters, but he says, you smell like a female ghoul, like, you're pathetic. And he probably smells like a female ghoul because he has Rize's organs in him, I guess. That's probably why he's got that smell. And he chokes him out, and he plays with him a little bit. He chokes him out, but he chokes him a little bit. He throws him. He toys with him, and he goes, oh, should I kill? So if you don't want me to kill you, can I kill him? Like, he puts his foot on him, and gets like, starts torturing him, and finally Ken starts having like all these thoughts about his childhood, and like how Hide was there for him, and he wants to protect his friend. He wants to protect him, and all of a sudden Ken gets the same tendrils as Rize had, and he goes nuts on Nishima, and Nishima tries to use, like, he gets like this blue tail, this blue tendril-like tail out of his back, and he tries to fight back, but he can't, and the colors are going all inverted, I guess because it would be too gory if they left it all red or whatever. Most of the time, they show red blood, but like for this particular scene, the colors get all inverted and blue and greenish, and you just see like Ken going nuts like like picture like these are the tendrils, and they're just going like you know rapidly, rapid fire tendrils. I think it's like 3 or whatever, but they're going rapid fire, and Mishima is pretty much like pinned on the ceiling, and he pretty much looks like he dies. Uh, he might still be alive. I don't know. It looks like he died because he's like, how to this little brat, yeah, and he just like goes down. So, but then now Ken, he did all that to save his friend, but now he's looking at his friend, and he sees, and you see all the red blood now. You see all the red blood around his friend, and he looks so delicious, so tantalizing. And once again, Rize comes into the picture, and she says, as a ghost or whatever behind him, she says, "It's okay. He's your friend. Because he's your friend. You can eat him, and look at how delicious and how good that food is. It would be a shame to waste it." And he just starts like he fought it for a little bit, but then he's just like, "You're right. It's my special treat. Why should I deprive myself of it? You know." And then she's talking in conjunction with him, like they're almost synchronized. And he's like, "I have to eat him." And he's like, "Because he's my friend." And she says at the same time, synchronized with him in like a ghostly form, "Because he's your friend." And so he's about to eat him. He's ready, drooling, like the drool is pouring from his mouth, in anticipation. He's ready. And all of a sudden, Toka comes from behind, and she says, "Look at you. Look at the state you're in. The hunger has driven you to eat, to even eat your friend. You don't care about anyone but yourself right now. Anything but the hunger. That's how terrible, that the hunger of a ghoul is, the starvation." And he's like, "I don't care. Shut up. I don't eat it." And she's like, "Just this once, I'm gonna help you out, because if you eat him, you're gonna regret it for the rest of your life, and you're gonna be nothing but despair." So she starts so he uses his tendrils and he goes after her, and she just sprouts some kind of red liquidy tendril thing. I don't know if it's tendril or what, but red liquidy thing behind her back, like starting to take form. You don't really see what it is, and then she attacks him. You don't see the attack. You don't see nothing. It just goes black, and now he wakes up. Ken wakes up in the cafe, and whatever it's called. I forget again. Antiku, something like that. And he he realizes that he's got blood in his mouth, and he realizes it's not his blood. So he's like, "What happened?" And they're like, the master's like, you had to eat, so you ate while you were unconscious, and we gave you food, and don't worry about your friend. He's okay. And they take him to a room, and there's Hide unconscious on the bed, pretty much okay. Um, and then they just tell him, this is what the price of the hunger is. That you have to eat. If you don't eat, you won't be able to be around your friend anymore or whatever. And he's like, "No, I'm half ghoul, I'm half human." He's like, "There's no place for me in the world." And when I say they told him, I meant just the master. The master's the only one talking to him. The master's the only one around him. And the master is like, "That's not true. It's because you're half ghoul and half human. You have a place in both worlds." And he makes him feel like so much better. And this is like a good part of the show, because now we're seeing wait a second. He's not just a ghoul. He's actually still human. He could potentially live a good life, as like ghouls aren't evil. Like there are ghouls that they get pleasure out of eating or whatever, but you don't have to live like that. You can live, just eat. You can just take meat from them, from the Cafe Antico, eat that. Try to live the best you can as a normal human. I mean, there are ways or whatever. There are ways for him to deal with his despair, and he's giving him hope. And as he's talking about that, like you see Toka, she's like got bandages on her, obviously from her fight with him, and she's like in this brightly lit sunlit room or whatever, and there's like a butterfly landing on her finger, and she's smiling and she's all happy, and you kind of just see that, again, like I talked in the first video, what does it mean to be a monster? Like, are they monsters just because they have to eat people, or is being a monster, just being evil, because it's your choice? You know what I'm saying? And that's how it is. Like, this show is really got potential to explore, um, you know, morals, and explore, um, you know, personal, not personal, but like deep, deep line of thinking, deep way of thinking, like like what it really means to judge someone, you know, like, was he right to judge Toga? Obviously not, because Toga seems to be like a good person that wants to. She eats people because she has to eat people. She hunts because she has to hunt. We don't know who she hunts right now. Maybe she only hunts, you know, bad people. Maybe not. I don't know, but it gives you a lot to think about, and it's really cool. Um, and they said, like Hide can never, well, that was in the manga. It might be next episode, but yeah, but pretty much Hide can never know, that he's a ghoul or anybody else is a ghoul. And yeah, so that's it. So the episode ends. I said there was an important plot point in episode 1, and here's the plot point is the wrench that was on the roof. The two detectives, um, they find the wrench on the roof, and they talk about, like, they're hot on the trail of the ghouls or whatever, and like they got their clue, and so whatever. So that was the plot point to set up for the detectives to find out, some piece of evidence. Where it goes in the future, I'm not sure. But yeah, so that's it. So that's Tokyo Ghoul episode 2 review. I really liked it, just as good as episode 1 in my opinion. Can't wait to see how Ken adjusts to his life as a ghoul. Actually, I'm going to read the manga after this video because I'm really into it. And the manga seems to be different from the anime. A lot of stuff is taken out, so I'm going to treat the anime reviews from now on as separate from the manga, and I will, just talk about, like, what goes on in the anime episodes. And they will be up to date every week once new episodes come out. So these are only late because I just decided to do them now. But yeah, so looking forward to seeing Ken's growth as a ghoul, to see if he can keep his humanity while trying to embrace this other lifestyle. Personally, if it was me, I would have never given myself that choice. I would have tried to kill myself immediately instead of eat human flesh. But I mean, that's just me. With his situation, he doesn't have any parents, so I mean, and he only has one friend really. So maybe it's not that hard for him to transition into it. I mean, even though he's obviously freaking out over it. But and Toka seems like an interesting character. That she's like got this kindness, and that she is trying to live her life happy, and she just accepts that that she's got to do what she's got to do. And when she gets serious or pissed off about something, she's a badass. And yeah, and I hope Hide stays in the picture too, because I really enjoy Hide. And if Mishima is dead, then I guess like then Hide will be okay. But if Mishima is still alive, how is that going to happen? Like, will Ken become strong enough to be able to protect Hide from Mishima? And or will Mishima just leave them alone and try to who knows what's going to happen? But a lot of possibilities, a lot of exciting stuff in this show. Can't wait for episode 3. Can't wait to go read the manga after I finish this video. And that's it, guys. Leave your thoughts below in the comments about the episode. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos. And that's pretty much it. I'll catch you later. Have a good day.